So you're interested in learning more about the ICorps and NCATS program and how to accelerate scientific discoveries into greater impact in our communities. My name is Dr. Molly Wasco. I'm a professor at the UAB's Collat School of Business. And in case you're wondering what a business school professor is actually doing working with the CTSA program, well, it's because I too have a great interest in the translation of scientific discoveries. So through the CTSA program, we've made tremendous investments in how to accelerate the scientific discoveries from the bench to the bedside. But there still exists this tremendous gap. How do we get the scientific discoveries that emerge from our campuses and investments in research to actually translate into impact on the communities? And this is where the ICorps program comes in. So a few years ago, NSF decided to look at its research portfolio, and given its $7 billion investment in research, they asked the question, well, what is the return on that investment? And it turns out that we had a very hard time actually articulating what the return on that investment was. And so NSF decided to engage with some academic researchers around the area of entrepreneurship to come up with a program to help our academic researchers better understand the commercial potential of their research. And this is how the ICorps program was born. So since 2012, when the ICorps at NSF program was developed, they've actually trained over 1,000 research teams using this program, and they've had tremendous success with over 300 new startup companies formed and launched. So given the success that NSF has had with this program, other federal research agencies have started paying attention, including NIH. So currently, the only way for NIH-funded investigators to participate in the ICorps program is through the NIH SBIR STTR program. And so once a company is formed and they're funded with an NIH SBIR, then these teams can participate in ICorps. So the purpose of the ICorps at NCATS program is to make this program available to researchers prior to actually forming their companies, to investigate whether there's commercial potential for their ideas earlier on in the research stages. So last year, using the NCATS Collaborative Innovation Awards, a team of 9 different CTSAs came together to develop the ICorps at NCATS program. With the support of VentureWell and 2 of the instructors from the NIH National Program. So we had 3 aims. The first aim was to actually develop a curriculum that would be specific to innovations in life sciences. Second, to design the curriculum, the teaching materials, and the student materials specifically around the life sciences innovations of therapeutics, diagnostics, devices, research and health services, and also health IT. And the third stage is to actually deliver the program across our CTSAs through a regional training program. So over the past 10 years, we've learned a lot about what makes startups work. And so under the old model, we used to think that all it took was a really good idea, a great research team, toss a bunch of money at them, and some time would go by, and then all of a sudden this company would be formed. But that's not how it actually works. Actually getting from an idea, a scientific discovery, to some type of startup venture is a very windy and twisty road, and it's not always forward moving. So here's a case study. This is a very smart scientist. His name is Alan David. He's from Auburn University, and he had this great idea about how we can use nanomaterials to create better theranostics. So coming into the program, the very first thing that we have our teams do is come up with something called a business thesis. A business thesis has 3 components. Who is your customer? What is your product or service? And then why do they care? And how do you connect those 3 things? So the first stab at this was, well, our customers are MRI centers, and our product is actually an MRI contrast agent. And why do they care? Because it's better. So we pushed on the team to actually develop that out a little further. First of all, MRI centers are buildings. They are not actually customers. So who in the actual building cares about what they do enough to actually change the status quo? And so they said, all right, well, customers are going to be radiologists. Product stays the same, MRI contrast agents. And then better. What does better actually mean? So the team said, well, better means higher quality images. So voila, great business thesis. Radiologists want MRI contrast agents that yield higher quality results. So the next thing that we do with the ICorps program is we use this tool called the Business Model Canvas. A Business Model Canvas is a very simple tool. It's 1 page, and it actually articulates how will your organization create value, How will it deliver value to its customers? And then how will it capture value in a way that is sustainable? And so we sit down, we go through all 9 boxes of the business model canvas to come up with our ideas about, well, all right, how will we create, capture, and deliver value? But as long as you're sitting in your lab or sitting in a workshop with us, basically all we've come up with is a set of hypotheses. So these are testable hypotheses, but you have to actually get out of the lab, get out of the office, and go test them. And the way we test the hypotheses in ICorps is through a process we call customer discovery. And that's actually going out and talking to the potential customers that we think we're trying to serve. And of course, this is a very frustrating experience. First of all, most of us have never been trained in actually how to talk to people and how to talk to people in a way that they can understand our science. So part of what we do in the program is actually teach you what are good, how to actually do an interview. How do you talk to humans? And of course, customer discovery means you're listening to the customers and what they need. And what you discover could be really interesting. So for instance, Alan's team, when they went out and actually talked to radiologists, what they discovered was that higher quality images was not a problem that they were really worried about. Actually, what kept a radiologist up at night was not the higher quality image. The images were good enough, but it was the safety for the patient. So by getting out of the building and actually talking to radiologists, it actually changed the way Alan viewed his research. And so he quickly came back, changed his business thesis to radiologists want MRI contrast agents that are safer for patients. And so now his lab is looking at this. And so what we've discovered is teams that go through the ICorps program, it not only helps them develop, a business model and helps them understand is there commercial potential, but it also changes their mindset and the way that they think about their science. And so for us, the goals of the ICorps program are not necessarily to have all our researchers actually engage in startup companies, but to have them think differently about their science and their approach to science. And are they doing science that actually connects to a real world impact? And you do that through the process of customer discovery. And for me, going through this process discovery and this changing mindset from a solution-based innovation to actually a problem-based innovation gets really to the heart of what I think is a translational scientist and a translational thinker. So how is the ICorps at NCATS program different from other types of ICorps programs? First of all, we are building on this fabulous CTSA network. So we have CTSA programs across the country, and we want to leverage this network to be able to identify what are some of the best and brightest ideas coming off of our campuses. Another thing that the CTSA network does for us that is unique is it actually helps us get access to the customers that we want to interview. So innovations in life sciences are so difficult, in part because it's so hard to actually get interviews with the people that we're trying to serve. And so through the CTSA network, we can help identify who are the people you need to talk to across all of our academic medical centers, across the CTSA networks, so you can better engage in the process of customer discovery. The third way our network is different is we are hosting these regional programs to make sure, regardless of what CTSA you belong to, you can participate in an ICorps program. And then ultimately, we hope to be able to fund an ICorps at NCATS program specifically, similar to what NSF does with their national program. And so when we looked at the design of the regional program, that we created a structure to make sure it fit into the schedules of very busy academic researchers and clinicians. So the way the program works, it's a one-day kickoff. This is an all-day face-to-face meeting where you engage with the teaching team. Week 2 is actually just office hours where you check in with the teaching team on your progress and have any questions answered. Week 3 is an online WebEx. So for 2 hours, teams will actually present back on their progress and get input from the teaching team. Week 4, office hours once again electronically that you schedule with the teaching team. Week 4, online office hours again that you schedule with the teaching team at a time convenient for you. And then week 5, we come back together face-to-face and have the finale where teams get to present out what they've learned, and also we talk about next steps. So we hope you'll join us. So here's our contact information if you have any questions. Also, this is the link where you can find the regional schedule and how to sign up for regional programs, and we hope to see you there.